You've probably met people like this. They sit next to you, drink tea, maybe even smile, but their eyes are empty. Their gaze is dull, without fire, without light. You ask a simple question. What are your plans for the next year? Maybe you want to travel somewhere? Change something? And they sigh and reply, plans? I just hope to make it to the end of the week. And in that moment you understand. You're looking at a person who's alive in the body, but has already surrendered inside. They've put a full stop within themselves, and now they're just slowly playing out the remainder of the script. I call them the living dead. They go to work, they buy groceries, they perform their usual routines, but they do it with no fire, no thirst, no interest. Conversations with them are always the same. What brings you joy? Nothing. What do you expect from the future? Nothing. I don't expect anything anymore. And the scariest part? They don't even realize their soul shut down a long time ago. They think this is normal, that this is how life is supposed to be. There are many people like that, and they're dangerous, not because they might harm you, but because their lifeless state is contagious. Spend just a little time with them, and you start to feel the fatigue, the dullness, the apathy creeping in. I've seen it in many places, in lines where people sit with slumped shoulders and mutter, well, what can you do? That's life. At work, where co-workers complain during lunch, everything's bad, the only joy is waiting for Friday. In families where conversations revolve around endless complaints about prices, neighbors, the country, the boss. They stopped searching for a way out long ago. They don't hope for miracles. They don't even try to take a single step toward change. All they want is to make it through. Not to live life, but to endure it, like a sentence. And if you stay around people like that for too long, you start believing you have no way out either. That there's no light ahead for you. Their version of reality starts pulling you in, like a vortex. This is death in life. The body is still here, but the soul has long gone to sleep. And yet right next to them, sometimes even in the same family, there are others, who at first glance seem exactly the same. They also go to the store. They also work. They also face challenges. But they have something different inside. A spark. You start a conversation with someone like that, and you immediately feel the difference. You ask, what are your plans? And they smile. Plans? I have so many. I want to try a new project. I want to learn to play guitar. I want to visit a place I've never been before. You ask, what brings you joy? And they say, everything. The morning brings me joy. The leaves under my feet bring me joy. A delicious cup of coffee brings me joy. Even the rain outside, because it reminds me I'm alive. These people aren't necessarily rich. They may live in the same kind of apartment, work the same kind of job, have the same bills as everyone else, but they live differently because inside they have thirst, the thirst to live, and that thirst is magnetic. Spend just a few minutes near them, and it's like you're waking up. You want to act. You want to try. You want to search. You want to laugh. You want to live. It's like two separate branches of reality. In one branch, people live only out of habit, dragging through each day. In the other, people wake up every morning with the feeling, today, I can live another story. Today, I might feel something I've never felt before. And you know what's most amazing? They live side by side, in the same city, in the same building, sometimes in the same family, but their worlds are completely different. The first world is gray, dull, tasteless, scentless. The second then is full of color, full of smells, flavors, and tiny joys. And the only difference is the gaze, where your inner spotlight is pointed. When you choose to spend time with those who have a spark, you automatically step into their branch of probability, where people are awake, where people cherish the moment, where joy is found in the simplest things. So be careful who you spend your time with those who have already died inside or those who still burn. Have you ever noticed how one person's mood can change the atmosphere in an entire room? It only takes one person to start complaining, Everything's bad. Life is hard. Nothing changes. And suddenly, the air grows heavy. The room feels tight. It becomes hard to breathe, as if even the air has stopped moving. But then someone else walks in, unsmiling, and they say, "Look at the sky today, isn't it beautiful?" And just like that, and the light comes on. People start breathing deeper. Someone else smiles. Someone remembers something good. The whole energy shifts instantly. That's how energy works. We're constantly exchanging states. We're like radio towers, always broadcasting something outward and picking something up in return. Now imagine, you're sitting next to someone who's already dead inside. They talk about how they have no strength, no joy, no meaning. And you, just by being there, start feeling the same. His emptiness starts to seep into you. His hopelessness becomes your own. But when you're next to someone whose eyes are burning with life, someone who has a dream, someone whose heart is open to the world, you catch something else entirely. Your own heart lights up. You feel energy flow through you. That's why your environment matters so much. We like to think, I'm on my own. Others don't affect me. But the truth is, no one exists in isolation. We are always connected. We are always exchanging states. You make a choice every single day, even if you don't realize it. Who are you drinking your energetic tea with? With those who add light, joy, inspiration to it? Or with those who pour in bitterness and darkness? Because sooner or later, you will become like those you spend the most time with. That's energy. So if you want to live, find the living. If you want to feel joy, stay near the joyful. If you want to rise, walk alongside those who are already flying. There's one powerful truth most people never consider. When you choose your environment, you're not just choosing people. You're choosing a timeline, a whole version of reality. Imagine you surround yourself with those who always complain about life being hard, unfair, meaningless. What happens? Slowly, your life starts to reflect that story. You shift into a version of reality where those beliefs become true, where joy is rare, where even random events feel like they're pushing you down. But if someone beside you has a thirst for life, they look up and say, "Look how infinite the sky is today." They walk down the street and notice flowers where others see only cracked pavement. And something inside you shifts. Their perception infects yours, and suddenly your world changes. Random moments turn into fate. Tiny joys multiply. Life itself begins opening new doors. All because you chose the right company. Because you chose to stand near the living, not the barely surviving. That's the real secret. Your life isn't just about your actions. It's about the energy field you live in. If you live among the dead, your reality becomes a graveyard of dreams. But if you live among the living, your world becomes a blooming garden. The choice is always yours. You can stay in the old timeline, the one where everything is predictable and gray. Or you can step into the one where eyes shine, where dreams matter, where there is movement and joy. The spark, it's not just in others, it's in you. But for it to ignite, you need to be near those who fan the flame, not those who smother it. There's a simple rule that psychologists, coaches, and self-aware people often repeat. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If your friends are dreamers, planners, doers, you'll start dreaming, planning, doing. If your friends constantly complain, you'll start complaining too. It's the natural law of energy and attention. There's even a saying in business. Want to be a millionaire? Hang out with 4 millionaires. You'll become the 5th. Why? Because you start to absorb their habits, their mindset, their lens on reality. You start to see the world through their eyes. And the opposite is just as true. If you're surrounded by 4 people who've given up, you're likely to become the 5th. Not because you're weak, but because the field around you pulls you into their direction. That's why your environment matters so much. It's not just friends or co-workers. It's your living backdrop. It's the air you breathe every single day. If the backdrop is dull and heavy, your life becomes dull and heavy. But if the backdrop is bright and burning with energy, your life blossoms. So be very careful. Who are the people closest to you? What do they talk about? What do they focus on? What kind of world are they projecting? Because sooner or later you'll become part of their world, and your spark will either burn brighter or fade away. Yes, your environment shapes you. But here's the other side of the coin. You shape the environment for someone else. Every look you give, every word you speak, every emotion you express, it's a signal to the field. And that signal determines who stays close to you and who walks away. Think about it. People are drawn to those who burn bright, to those whose eyes shine, to those who don't dwell on how bad everything is, but instead talk about what can be built, where beauty can be found, what can be created. You want to attract strong people? Then start shining yourself. Not because you're faking it, but because your inner fire is real, and people can feel it. Imagine you're a lantern in the dark. You get to choose. Will you be the one who lights the way for others? Or will you sit in the shadows waiting for someone else to light the path for you? Here's the moment that truly matters. When you shift inside, the matrix around you shifts too. Suddenly you start noticing different people. New connections appear. New conversations begin. New opportunities arise. And it's not random. It's your vibration, your choice, your internal setting. You become the person others want to live next to. You become the spark that reignites the fire in someone else. Because every soul on this planet is secretly searching for people like that. Life is a field, and everyone chooses which frequency to live on. You can sit next to those who complain, who pull others down, who've lost the taste of life. Or you can step into a space where people create, laugh, build, dream. You get to choose every day, not tomorrow, not once things get better. Right now, your attention is your ticket to the right reality. And remember, you always have the power. You are the one who can change your surroundings, change your thoughts, change your field. And in doing that, you create your world. I thank each and every one of you for being here, for listening, reflecting, seeking truth, and rediscovering yourselves. I love you. You are the best. Until we meet again on this channel, protect your light. Take care. Goodbye.